my gosh.
Oh,
Okay.
hello.
View your stream. Cannot play video. What do you mean? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay.
I wonder if this is going to all make it onto the podcast.
I hope it. We should have bloopers.
Yes.
There should be. I mean, it's the first one.
Yeah, might as well.
That all of the giggles you get out in your first one.
All of the sillies, you know.
Yeah. We should shake our sillies out.
Oh my goodness, yes. Gosh, shake your sillies out. Shake your sillies out. Shake your sillies out.
Wiggle your waggles away.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh
yes,
my goodness.
Yes.
Throwback.
Shall we?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. All right, we're gonna do the 1, 2, 3 clap, and then we're gonna do it. Ready?
Sure.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Yes. That was so good. So tight. All right. One more time because I just said things.
Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the pilot episode of If Duck Can Do It, where it's a podcast where we bring on your everyday self-starter in an effort to inspire others to follow their interests and become the kind of self-starter that fits their lifestyle. I would love to welcome Erica Risti, our very, very, very first guest, and I'm
Hello.
so excited to bring her on and share everything she has to say with you.
I'm very excited to be here and honored to be your very first guest, Duck.
Yes, I am your host, Duck, and without further ado, let's take it away. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's going on in the world of Erica?
Well, I'm a Taurus Sun, Capricorn Moon, Cancer Rising, Gemini Venus. So I am a full-time musician. I've been doing music for most of my life. Professionally, I've been doing it for several years now, but I didn't go full-time until about a year and a half ago, July of 22. But I'm a multi-instrumentalist, I'm a vocalist, I'm a lot of things. I'm kind of like a musical Swiss Army knife of sorts, because I know how to do a lot of things.
I'll say. Yeah, a musical powerhouse she is.
Oh.
Well, welcome, Erica. We are very, very lucky to have you. Why music? Why is music important to you? What does it mean to you? What do you get out of doing this?
Music has been an integral part of my life for as long as I can remember. My dad's a musician. A couple of my uncles are musicians. My great-grandfather played the mandolin. So it's been in my family for a long, long time. And ever since I was very little, I was just surrounded by music, either by my dad playing guitar or my mom putting on music whenever I would be in the kitchen with her, dancing around. So I was exposed to all kinds of music and got to know a lot of musicians, because when you yourself are a musician, you have friends that are musicians. So when I was very little, I would tinker around on there was this old piano in my parents' basement. And eventually it got to the point where I started taking piano lessons from a family friend of ours, John Watkins, when I was about 5 or 6 years old. And from there, I just sort of began my musical journey from there. And I realized that I'm basically hardwired for music, because along the way I found out that I had perfect pitch, and I also learned I had sound color synesthesia. For those listening and aren't curious as to what sound color synesthesia is, my brain processes music as color. So it's literally in my brain. I can't escape it. I can't not do something with music simply because of how my brain is wired.
And with perfect pitch, do you know the percentage of people that have perfect pitch? Is that common?
Not super common, no. I can't think of the percentage off the top of my head.
For any fact finders out there, if you know the answer to this question, feel free to send us a message or a comment on one of our posts.
Yes, help us out. But yeah, it's not super common. With perfect pitch, I can find music in just about lots of everyday noises, like the sound of a car horn going off or a microwave. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. But music is, you were asking, to go back to your question of what do I get out of it? Joy and meaning. It gives my life a lot of meaning. Oh, noise. That was a G, actually. Fun. I get a lot of joy out of it. It's something that's ever evolving. It's something that it's ever evolving. It's eternal. As long as there is a way to play with sound, as long as we have a way for sound to conduct through material, there will always be music.
And you studied some sound design in college, right? Or some type of sound related?
Yeah, I did. I majored in theater with concentrations in both performance and sound design. I didn't really get into sound design until maybe like my junior year, towards the latter half of my college career, and I have Amy Altadonna to thank for that. She's wonderful. Amy, if you're listening, you rule, and I think about you often.
Shout out to Amy Altadonna, sound design professor at UMass Amherst. Also, Yas Queen.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. So, do you have plans to take a look into sound design again, seeing as you find the music in everyday things? It just made me think of sound sampling and the fun that you could have with that.
Yeah, I'm honestly not too sure. I really don't see myself doing anything with sound work, unfortunately, at least in the near future, just because I'm so focused on my musician's path and musician's journey right now.
Fair. On that note, let's dive a little deeper. How did you get started as a freelance musician? What resources did you rely heavily on? Which can be like tangible resources, online resources, people for advice. So what resources, how did you get started?
That's a very good question. So it's sort of, I sort of like trickled into that direction. Like it got to a point where I was getting enough gigs to leave my day job, where I felt comfortable leaving my day job. But I think it started with, I want to say, I played piano for my high school's production of Peter and the Starcatcher about a year after I graduated. And with something like freelance music, work begets work. So the more you work, the more your name will be out there, and the more connections you'll make, the more people will have your number. So over time, more and more people started getting my number. Sometimes they would contact me, or I would reach out to musician postings on Facebook. For instance, there's a Facebook group dedicated to pit musicians in the New England area, called the Call for Pit Orchestra Musicians Greater Boston, or Call for Pit Orchestra Musicians New England. And I ended up getting quite a few gigs from there around, I want to say 2019. So that's been a big resource for me too. Facebook's a really good resource for musicians if they're looking for musician listings, because there's Facebook groups for all sorts of things, like choral freelancing, orchestral freelancing, musician networks. So Facebook's been an incredible resource. And then once I started swing dancing in January 2020, great time to pick up that hobby. I started meeting people from the swing dance community, some of whom were musicians, and I got connected through there. So I guess in short, I got started through the community of musicians.
Yeah.
I got sort of pulled into that community. Yeah. Or rather, I had set foot into that community.
So to recap, looking for those gigs online on Facebook, looking for those groups that are posting needs for musicians, looking at those groups, finding which ones you want to say yes to, which ones you're capable of doing, and slowly but surely building that network.
Right, yeah.
Cool. And then participating in the community of your industry is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. Thank you for that. Also, I have seen you in your glow-up skirt at your swing dancing events.
Yes.
Have you been swing dancing recently?
Not a ton, no, because sometimes I'm either gigging elsewhere when there's a dance happening, or I am in a band that is playing at a swing dance. Mm-hmm. And when I'm not doing either of those things, I'm either like seeing friends, practicing, or just being a hermit because peopling is hard.
And snuggling your cat. And
my housemate's cat, yeah.
Cat.
Yes.
What's the cat's name?
Her name's Kelladry.
Kelladry.
She is a very sweet girl. I adore her. Rachel and Patrick, if you're listening, I love your cat.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I have a question here from one of our listeners and followers. This is from Dana Sheridan Music.
Dana! Hi, Dana!
Do you have a moment from your youth that made you realize that performing arts was what you wanted to pursue professionally? Or is it something that you just always knew?
So, to preface, Dana and I have been best friends since, like, middle school. Like, she and I are each other's platonic life partners. Like, she's the Leslie Knope to my Ann Perkins. She's awesome. She and I are, like musical soulmates. We're like Lin-Manuel Miranda and Alex Lacamoire. So to answer Dana's question, it's something that I've always just sort of knew. I remember being really young and wanting to specifically be a pianist. 11 instruments later.
11
instruments later.
Can you list them off for us?
All right. So there's piano, guitar, saxophone, hand percussion, ukulele, mandolin, accordion, melodica, kalimba, penny whistle, fife, and Celtic harp. 13 if you count voice.
Was there saxophone in there?
Yes, I listed saxophone.
I was like, that's a lot of percussion. Percussion?
Well, hand percussion, kind of, yeah, like pitched percussion. I don't know how to play drum kit yet. But yeah,
we're working on it.
It's something I knew I wanted to do. But I didn't know that I would end up like picking up all of these instruments and learning all of this stuff. I didn't know that my life would take me where it has taken me. Mm-hmm. But I can't really pinpoint a specific moment where I said, I want to do this. I've just always kind of known that I want to do music.
Yeah. Did learning one instrument really help you understand another instrument at one point? You've dipped your toes into so many different instruments. I'm wondering if there was any crossover or if any of your education in the other instruments helped with what you currently
It kind of does.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of does. There is a bit of crossover. So sometimes I'll play certain instruments like a percussion instrument. Like I'll do something rhythmic on the accordion, or I'll do something rhythmic on the accordion or the saxophone, and while I'm playing, I'll think to myself, okay, play this like a drum. With the saxophone, though, something that I'm doing to try to improve my tone in my playing is I've been trying to imagine that it's kind of like an extension of my voice, and sort of trying to hone my tone through that way. It's a lot of mind work. So every time I'm playing, I'm thinking like, oh, play this how you would sing it. How would it sound if you sang it? Which is helpful because the saxophone is quite close to a human voice.
Yeah, I used to be in a jazz band in high school, and something that we would do was like kind of conversational solos. So
I love those.
Yeah, so the director would pick out, or conductor, same thing in our case, would pick out two musicians in the group and say, like, you guys talk to each other.
Yes, I love it when musical conversations happen. It is so fun. And it's like, it's such a special moment to get to do that on stage or anywhere with another musician. Like you're trading twos or trading fours. It's like you're talking in your own language. It's really, really fun.
And you did a sax battle recently, didn't you?
Yes, Battle of the Saxes with Tiger Moan. This is the second time we've done that. The first year we did it, it was me and Jeremy Valadez of the Chicken Slacks. And this past year it was me and John Lindsay. Jeremy and John, if you're listening, hello, shout out. And also shout out to Amy Kacharik. She's the band leader of Tiger Moon.
Fantastic. And what are some other notable groups that you've played with recently?
So I play with not only Amy Kacharik and Tiger Moon and all of her groups, but I also play with the Baker Thomas Band, Tiny the Bear, Notes on a Napkin, which is my acoustic duo with Dana Sheridan, who asked us the previous question. Who else? There's quite a few. Tiger Moon, Baker Thomas, Notes on a Napkin, Tiny the Bear. Oh my goodness, I'm losing track. Oh.
That's all right.
Those are the ones I play with recently. There's also this guitarist I work with, Joe Saburin. He and I and the singer KDO, actually, we have a gig coming up on the 28th at Harpoon Brewery.
Harpoon Brewery, you heard it here. What time?
From 1 to 4 p.m.
1 to 4 p.m. Come check out Erica. All right. Well, and if you do remember any other bands, feel free to comment on your own post.
Yes.
Like, so these were the
I'm
bands
so
that I
sorry
forgot.
if we've played together and I'm forgetting. I'm so sorry. It's just that lack of object
She doesn't
permanence.
hate you. It's
It's
fine.
not that
She wants to play with you again, I promise.
my brain is failing me today.
It's all good. Slightly different question. Who is your role model and why?
Ooh, I don't have just one.
Okay.
Because there's different people I look up to for different aspects of my life and my craft. So, I mean, obviously my mom is she's been a big role model for me.
Hi, Mama Risti.
Yeah, she's the reason why I bring food to parties, and why I dress the way I do. I come from a long line of very fashionable women. Of course, my older sister too. But as an adult now, I find myself looking up to a lot of my peers. For instance, Dana is actually a really big role model for me when it comes to the business side of music. Because she's a class act. In addition to being just a phenomenal musician, songwriter, lyricist, singer, she's so classy and so professional in all of her interactions. She is cordial, but also like firm with any boundaries that she sets and guidelines that she sets. Every time I have to send a professional email for whatever reason, I will sometimes send it to her and be like, am I wording this right? Because she is so excellent at wording things very courteously and very professionally. And she's also just, her business practices are just awesome. She always like follows through with her words, pays her musicians. She's great. I look up to her in that regard. For things like performing and general stage presence, Amy Kacharik has been an influence on me. She's such an awesome band leader. She has fantastic stage presence in addition to also being an awesome songwriter and musician. Her main instrument is ukulele. But she's such a fun band leader, and she knows how to engage a crowd. She's really, really good at stage banter. She's just a lot of fun. And if I ever get around to leading a band, I have her to look up to and be inspired by. There's also Shane Sager, who is, he's been Sting's touring harmonica player for years. And I have gotten to know him through blues jams in the area because he's a local guy. And he actually was one of the guest musicians for Tiger Moan, I want to say this past November. And he is not only just like an exceptionally talented musician to the point where it's just like, it's not fair how good he is. It's just not fair. But he's also really candid with his lifestyle habits and his health habits. He's an avid gym goer. He runs a blog where he talks about like all of his musical influences and all of his musical practices. And he inspires me in that regard. He's a role model to me in that regard, in that he makes me strive to be better than who I am now. So for instance, in one of his blog posts, I think he mentioned that he practices for 20 minutes a day, every day, no exception. So it's been one of my New Year's resolutions, because of him, it's been one of my New Year's resolutions to practice more. If not 20 minutes a day, then, at least a couple hours a week. I mean, today alone, I played the saxophone for an hour. And he also goes to the gym a lot, and he inspires me to be a healthier, more mindful person. So Shane, if you're listening to this, thank you for being you and for being awesome and inspiring.
Yeah, we all need a Dana, an Amy, a Shane. That's really, really fantastic. And holding yourself accountable is so important. Like,
absolutely,
knowing that you can rely on yourself time and time again to set routine, or if you even have a basic, like, 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day type of thing that you can fall back on. Like, if possible, exactly. Like, that's the default, and if you can't get to it that day, then, so be it. But there's always the next day.
Yeah, because sometimes, you have a busy schedule, and
yeah,
you either have a busy schedule or you just don't really have the spoons to do it.
The spoons. Can you explain what spoons are to our audience who might not know what spoons are?
So spoons refers to spoon theory, and it's generally used by like people with chronic illnesses or mental illnesses, or it's when you say you have like a certain amount of spoons a day.
Let's say 3. Say we have 3 spoons.
Not even, like 12 spoons. Say you have a dozen spoons.
Or even like how I like to do it, if you don't mind, is you have your mental spoons.
Yeah.
Your emotional spoons and your physical spoons.
Yeah.
Right? And
that's a good way to think of it.
Yeah, and I think of it as like I have 3 of each a day.
Yeah.
And if I'm like, I can't move, I can't go anywhere, that's 0 physical spoons.
Yeah.
If I'm like, I cannot sit down and have a conversation with somebody right now, that's like 0 mental spoons. or if I can't sit down and listen to somebody vent about something, then that's 0 emotional spoons. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, more or less. Like, certain tasks cost a certain amount of spoons. And sometimes, I don't have enough spoons to maybe practice that day. Like, maybe I had been, either crawling through traffic for 2 hours, which takes a lot of energy out of me, or, socializing, or being in a really loud, overstimulating setting. That costs spoons.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean when I say spoons.
And it can be like a simple task during the day, and then all of a sudden after that task, you feel like, wow, I am just done for the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I cannot
totally
remember the person who came up with spoon theory, but I believe that they were someone with a chronic illness. I could be entirely wrong. Please don't cancel me if I am wrong, or if I'm wording this poorly. I apologize if I'm wording this poorly. But yeah, another term I've heard used are spell slots, like D&D.
That's a good way of phrasing it, yeah.
Yeah, and you can only recharge your spell slots if you have either a short rest or a long rest, or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I just won't really have the energy to practice, and could use like a day off from not doing doing music stuff, and just kind of exist as a person. Sorry, that was a very long-winded answer to your question.
I feel like
sorry.
I'm actually almost looking to skip to a question that directly flows from that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is there anything you want to change regarding lifestyle, workflow, efficiency, work-life balance? And if so, what do you think it would take to make that change?
Very good question, Duck. Is there anything I want to change? Yeah, there are always things that I'm looking to change. It's just a matter of holding myself accountable to make the change happen. I think what I want to change the most is something that I'm currently working on now, is just practicing more and holding myself accountable to maintain the healthier habits that I want to maintain, and also maintain / establish for this coming year.
What's a tool that you might use to help with holding yourself accountable?
I make lists like nobody's business. I make lists like it is my job. I find that writing things down, I have a whiteboard in my room. I write things down in order to have it down somewhere and seen, and that way it doesn't seem like so much in my own head. Mm-hmm. What I like to do, because, fun fact, I have ADHD and have trouble with prioritization of tasks. So what I do is...
Same.
Yeah! Woo! So I...
Late diagnosis over here.
Hey, same. So I separate things into quests and side quests. So quests are, I have to do that day, no exceptions. Side quests are something that I can do either between quests, or things that I can take care of once I have done all my quests. Mm-hmm. So I found that's really helpful. What else? I know I want to be more active at some point. That was last year's New Year's resolution. And again, it just boils down to holding myself accountable and having some self-discipline to actually get myself to do the thing.
Do you feel like involving other people helps with accountability?
100%, yes. It so helps to have an accountability buddy. That's why I love, like, errand hangs with friends. Because if I wander into a say, Target alone, like, unless I'm verbally saying to myself, you're here for X, Y, and Z, I will go into, like, the shoes section or the clothes section or get distracted by all the trinkets that are there.
Or, just slink your way down every single aisle of the grocery store because you might have forgotten to put something on the list that isn't on the list.
Yeah, or, like, buy snacks that I don't need and that I may or may not eat.
Yeah.
So yeah, having another person absolutely helps. It's also known as body doubling.
I was just going to say there's something called body doubling where they don't even have to be doing the thing with you necessarily, but just being present while you're doing the thing. Like, hey, could you body double with me for this? Or like, I need to do laundry. Could you like body double with me? Maybe they fold one type of clothing and you fold everything else.
Yeah, or they just do their own thing while you do the thing there. Yeah. It just helps to have another body in the room.
Yeah, that's aware that you are doing the thing. I think that's the key is like, if they're just chilling over there on their laptop, but you haven't communicated that you intend to do the thing, I still find it hard to start. Yeah. But if I'm like, hey, could you just like sit with me and do your own thing while I get this done? World of difference. Instant productivity.
Oh, yeah.
I have another question from a listener / follower. This is from Prof. Moriarty 89.
Oh, that's John. Hi, John.
And John says, how do you navigate through and out of burnout?
How do I navigate through and out of burnout? Rest. Resting is so important. It is so important to listen to yourself and tune in to your own body's needs and be kind to yourself in that manner. Like yes, it is one thing to like push and I heard a gasp.
We are pausing really quickly. I saw that this was dark.
Oh no.
I want to make sure.
Did it try to upload? What? Oh my god, technology is so weird.
Weird. Well, I'm going to download that just in case.
Huzzah, fun.
I don't know where it left off.
Oh boy.
But
are we still recording now?
We're recording. We're doing our live stream right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that should be downloading to my SD card at the very end.
Okay.
So we should be okay. This is why you always have a backup.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's retry that. And then we're gonna, I hope it wasn't too long ago. But... All right. Well, while that's doing its thing, can do this. Oh, I see. You can record
for 30 minutes in your web browser. Oh, okay.
Well, we know it lasted 30 minutes and then...
Yes.
All right, well, that's
But
fine.
yes, going back to burnout. Yes, rest is so important. Being kind to yourself is really important. In terms of burnout with your job or your craft, it's important to take a break. It's like that scene in Kiki's Delivery Service where Kiki gets so discouraged. If you haven't seen Kiki's Delivery Service, it's one of my favorite movies. Kiki is one of my favorite witches.
This is Studio Ghibli, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. There's a part in the movie where Kiki gets discouraged that she can't fly anymore and she's worried that she might be losing her powers. So her artist friend Ursula says to her, like, look, don't fly for a while, rest up. And then once you get back, you'll be able to fly again. So that is probably the best advice for burnout, honestly. Just don't do the thing for a little bit, rest up, and then when you feel ready, you'll be able to do the thing tenfold, possibly.
One of my favorite parts about that movie in that respect is that Osana, like the bakery owner,
Yeah.
says like, "Don't worry, we'll be here like when you come back to it.
Yeah.
You know, take whatever time you need, and we'll be here when you come back." And I think that that's so important, not just for freelance musicians, but also for any entrepreneurs, self-starters, anybody who does social media content creators. That work is exhausting, and taking time,
even if it's fun, it can be exhausting sometimes.
Yeah, and like taking time to rest and take a break.
Yeah.
Like knowing when you need to take a break, and maybe even proactively scheduling your own break.
Yes, absolutely.
And then knowing that your followers or your fan base or your community will be there for you when you come back.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And if they're not there because you took a break, then they're not worth it anyway.
Precisely. Yeah. They weren't meant to be there anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a wonderful response.
Good question,
to that.
John.
Okay, we're getting into a little nitty gritty here. What is one mistake or pitfall you've experienced? What happened? How did you handle it? And what did you learn?
I think generally the biggest mistake that I've made as a professional musician is taking gigs that ultimately aren't worth it, either because the pay is too low and the distance is too far, or just it would be something that I know I wouldn't enjoy. It would be tedious. Yeah, that's I think perhaps the biggest mistake I've made, and I have learned from it. For instance, Tiny the Bear did this gig in Connecticut, about 3 hours away, at this DIY venue. That wasn't really great. We got paid peanuts for it. And yeah, we said, all right, we're not going to take gigs like this anymore. And because of that, every time I've seen like a job list, like a gig listing, that lists, where it's located, what the pay is. Like if I think the pay is too low for the amount of time I would be spent traveling, it's would be ultimately not worth it. Mm-hmm. And I learned that from experiences like that.
So that's a high priority checkbox for you when looking for gigs.
Yes.
Is time to money ratio.
Right. Like I'm not going to take I wouldn't take a super low paying gig if it's really, really far away, 3-4 hour drive away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other mistakes I have made along the way, but that so far seems to be that's the biggest one that stands out in my mind.
Yeah. Not saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries.
Yes, that's a perfect way to word it.
There will be plenty of gigs.
Yeah.
There's plenty of gigs out there. You just gotta look for them and reach out to folks and be proactive.
That's a good, honestly, saying yes to things. I have said yes to too many things that either, didn't pay me what I was owed, or things that I knew I wouldn't enjoy going into it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, setting boundaries in that regard is something that I have learned from it.
Yeah, it's very important, especially when you are your own boss.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have anybody else advocating for you, so you have to advocate for you.
Yeah, that's something that I'm also working on, self-advocacy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course.
And we have another audience, listener, follower question. This one is from Tiny Ray of Sunshine.
Oh, Rachel.
If you had one piece of advice for someone who wants to start performing but never has, what would you give?
For someone who has never performed but wants to,
how do they start?
in the words of Shia LaBeouf, just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it! Seriously, though, just do it. Find something about performing that drives you. Like, ask yourself, why do I want to do this? And then just go and do it. Find something about performing that brings you joy, that sparks that joy. Something that... Hold on, give me a second.
Sparking joy, Marie Kondo style.
Yes. If it doesn't spark joy, then don't do it. Find something that... Play to your strengths. Use that to drive your performance. Play to your strengths. There's a lot of not caring about what the audience will think. You kind of have to just go out there, take your space, own whatever space you're taking, and just be your truest self while you're performing. I'm sorry if that was a weird way to word it.
Doing it for you.
Doing it for you, exactly. Perform for you. Perform because you have something that you want to express. And if the audience likes it, then great. And if they don't, whatever. You have to do it for you.
Yeah. And for those perfectionists out there, like myself, don't be afraid of failure. Right? You're trying,
that's very important.
Especially when you're just starting out, you're not going to be good at it.
Yes.
Right away. So when you're just starting out, expect to fail. Expect to be bad. Expect to listen to yourself and be like, wow, okay, that's where we're starting.
Yes, you have to be...
And we only get better from here.
You do have to be open to criticism.
Yeah.
What a lot of musicians will do is that we'll record ourselves performing. We'll record ourselves during our practice sessions and then listen back and listen to what we can improve on. Mm-hmm. If we hear something like, that I could have done that differently. I could have done this. I could have done that. Like, that's how we improve. So you kind of have to be open to criticism.
It's improvement based, not shame based.
Yes, constructive criticism. Yeah. If anyone tries to like straight up insult you, just no, you don't need that. Like that's not constructive at all. But yeah, that's if you wanna perform but never have, just have all of those things in mind, and most importantly, do it because you want to.
Yeah, I agree. Do it because you want to.
Yeah.
It's your time. That's your most precious resource.
Yes, we're only given so much of it.
I just want to go quickly back to... I want to go quickly back to the kind of role model topic.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very funny audience question.
Yes.
From Chad Drums.
Steve.
I hope you know all of our listeners by first name. Yes, they're
mostly my followers and friends.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for asking these questions, my friends.
What is your process on stage for shutting out any mental noise after you've noticed a musical giant and or hero is in the audience looking right at you? Like you're doing a gig on saxophone and suddenly you notice that Sonny Rollins is staring at you?
Oh, very good question. Most of the time, in a lot of the cases, I don't really see the audience depending on how a stage is lit. So I don't notice who is there. But in the case where I can see the audience and I do see someone I really like if there's a, say if Sonny Rollins was there, or if like Dana Colley of Morphine was in the audience, I would acknowledge the person mentally, like, oh, oh my God, they're there. But kind of also be present in that moment and use that excitement to fuel my performance. Because it very easily, very, very easily can turn into anxiety and fear. But yeah, I guess in short, acknowledge the person, acknowledge what you're feeling, and channel that into your performance.
Great advice. Similar to acting, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're nervous, channel it. Use it.
Oh, absolutely. That's where my theater degree comes in handy for performing, for playing music.
Speaking of other things that you did in college, this is another question from a follower, Sean Eagle Bradley.
Yeah, Sean Bradley. Hi.
How do you incorporate your marching band experience into your current performances?
Oh, there's a lot that I do. But some of it is mainly like visual stuff, like dancing with my horn. This will not be visible for those listening, but like swinging the horn from side to side to the music. We did a lot of that in marching band. I remember there was this one gig I did with Sophia Griswold and the Grizzlies last July, where we opened with a song called Times Square. I forget who the artist is by, but it starts with a Barry solo. I was playing Barry sax for this. And Sophia like choreographed a whole thing for this song. It was so cool. I had so much fun with it. So my first thought was, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk out to center stage, plant myself, park and bark. And if you don't know what park and bark means, it means you're basically standing there with your horn up, playing as loud as you possibly can. And yeah, marching band was definitely in mind for that. But it mainly, the marching band stuff definitely comes in handy when I'm doing, visuals on stage. So I'm not, standing around or like looking awkward. But
it sounds like it gets you more into your body.
Yeah.
Too. And it
absolutely.
also with that being present, it gets you out of your head and into your body.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's why I love like moving around and dancing to the music. It does help me be more present and kind of helps me engage with what we're playing on stage instead of my mind going off into like 500 different directions.
Yeah. That takes a lot of concentration too, especially if you've got everything memorized and then you've got to work your body into it. It's a lot that goes into performing live.
Yes.
As opposed to like sitting in a studio and recording, which is a whole other beast.
Oh yeah.
But when you're live, using your body is part of that.
I did also want to add one more thing. So with marching band, I remember giving just like 150% with every single performance. Because you kind of have to with a group like the UMass Marching Band. Because they're a nearly 400 person marching band. And the sound is just insane. It's just we're a wall of sound. And it's just like constant excitement and motion and stuff like that. So I often tell myself, play this like you're in marching band. Pretend this song, pretend you're playing in marching band. Cause with marching band I would like give everything. Just give all of myself with every single performance. And so essentially that's me telling myself to commit to what I'm playing 150%. Even if it's just like, I don't know, happy birthday or something, just like play it like you just ran to the stands of the field and play like you're running around on a football field. Commit to what you're playing. Pretend it's the most like exciting thing that you have ever played before. Like you're you know, like
get
you're
your head in the game. Commit.
Yes.
Don't quit.
Exactly. Get your head in the game. Yeah, exactly. So committing 110% to what I am playing.
On that committing and exciting note,
Yeah.
we have another question.
Yes.
From Miss Allison Kerr.
Allie, hi.
Hello, Allie. Hi. What are you excited about right now in regards to your music performance?
What am I excited about right now?
What are you looking forward to?
There's gigs that I always look forward to. Like, I'm always really excited to tell people, like, hey, I'm playing such and such a place next. I am presently, I am recording with a new band called Elevator 5. This coming Saturday, we're putting together an album that we're gonna, hopefully send off to, like, booking venues and such so we can book some gigs. But the frontman, Will Sims, is an old college friend of mine who's in marching band, and he's based out of Ohio. So
shout out to Will Sims.
Hi, Will Sims. So potentially I may or may not be traveling to go and play with Elevator 5. But I'm really excited to just like get in the studio again and record with this band.
Does this mean a band picture at Cedar Point?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. We shall see. So there's that, but in general, I'm excited to continue my musician's journey, continue improving my sound, establishing good practice habits, excited for my own potential, excited to see where I go, what else I learn in this new year, and yeah, just looking forward to more growth and more improvement, because there is always room.
Do you think that there was a point where a switch went off and you just were like, oh my gosh, I'm excited about, like you just said, your potential?
Yeah.
Right? Like, was there like a switch that went off that you're like, I'm doing the thing and there's so much more I could do with this?
Yeah, I think it was towards the end of last year where, I said to myself, I really think I can be better. Like, I can do better than this. I can do better with my own sound, with my own habits. So yeah, that was what made me want to make it a New Year's resolution to practice more and improve my musicianship more.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We have one more question that I forgot to ask, and I think it's a great note to end on too. What is something that you are proud of? Like, since you became a freelance musician, what is like a specific thing that you're really proud of that you hold close to you when you're, like, say you're feeling down about yourself or discouraged? Like, what's something that you're like, I'm really proud of myself for doing this?
I'm proud of the fact that I'm able to cobble together and sustain a living by doing the thing that I'm essentially hardwired to do. Like, I'm really, really, really lucky to be able to do music full time. I can kind of sit back and have my Clark Griswold moment at the end of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where he just goes, I did it. And that's a lot of times for me. Like, sometimes it's not a glamorous life. I mean, being a freelance musician means, like, your pay is not steady. Sometimes you have gig droughts. But it's, music is what I know I'm supposed to be doing.
Speaking of a gig drought, how would you come out of that? Like, how do you handle that? And have you had to handle that?
Gig droughts are pretty common, especially around, say, January is a pretty dry month for musicians because all the holiday gigs are done. No one's doing any musicals. It's just one of those things that you just kind of have to weather. You kind of have to coast by on what you have made.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to kind of scrimp and save a little bit. But you sort of look around for gigs, you offer your services. Yeah, it's just one of those things that you just kind of have to weather until the seasons and the days get better and the work becomes steadier. Like, I know for a lot of my friends who play weddings frequently, like the summer months are prime time because that's wedding season.
To cash in on all those gigs so that when the winter months hit or when those droughts hit, you have that.
You have money. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so very much for joining us tonight. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I'm so glad that we were able to have you as our first guest.
Duck, I'm very honored. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. If you guys have any other outstanding questions for Erica, feel free to comment on any of our posts leading up to this podcast. And when we post the podcast itself, I'm sure that she would be happy to take a look and answer any questions that you might have if she has the spoons for it.
Yes. Oh, no.
Within reason.
I will answer your questions.
We love you all, guys, so much. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.